Good morning and welcome to welcome to Jamie spilling her coffee. Good morning and welcome to Coffee Talk. As you can see, I am somewhat dressed, halfway dressed. I was blow drying my hair. I have to go to Nashville today for the magazine. It's very exciting to bring the book to Tennessee and introduce it there. We are officially the fastest growing publication in the Southeast, and it is just overwhelming. We have one issue out and one hitting stands right now as we speak in mailboxes tomorrow. It's like amazing what is happening. So I get to go to Nashville for the day, and that's exciting. So yesterday I was calling people to introduce myself and introduce the magazine. My role has somewhat shifted. I still do PR for certain clients, but now as the editor-in-chief of a magazine, I'm on the other side of the fence, So I wanted to introduce myself to a few publicists that I will have to work with for different things. So I call and I say who I am, and they say, yeah, just shoot me an email. They don't want to talk on the phone, or their assistants. Can you just shoot her an email? And the first one or two or four, I was like, okay. And then I realized that is where we are. It's not where we're headed. It is where we are. The human connection in business is almost extinct. And listen, I understand the importance of technology. I totally get how much easier and how many good things have come into our lives due to technology. Every time I'm able to FaceTime one of my siblings, or when I travel and I FaceTime my children, I am so thankful for technology. Cawfeetawk would not happen without technology. I understand that. But the days of sitting face to face with someone and the accountability of doing business with them and looking them in the face and shaking their hands is over. Everything's done over email now. There's no human connection. So if you screw someone over in business, no big deal. All done over email, all done over text messages, whatever. Sometimes people do business they never even meet. And there is something to be said for a word. When we were young, we used to say word is bond. It mattered. Your word mattered. Your handshake mattered. Now it's all put it in an email. Put it in an email. And again, as a publicist, I understand the importance of a paper trail. I do. Although, how did we do business before email? But is it so hard to jump on the phone for a few minutes, do a quick introduction, hear the other person's voice, and then say, I'll shoot everything over to you now in an email? I mean, I would think that in a business like public relations, where your business is maintaining image in the press and pitching stories about somebody or a brand or something, you would want to maintain a certain human connection. I mean, people want to know, how do I do it from Alabama, right? They go, Jamie, how are you a publicist from Alabama? Like when everyone's in LA or New York, it boils down to the human connection. I'm not afraid to get on the phone and maintain these relationships. So anyway, after like the 15th one of people just being like, oh, she can't talk right now, just shoot her an email, I thought, oh, I'm over it. So I was like, I went on a rant. I'm like, nobody wants to talk anymore. Everybody wants to, like, I was just talking to Michael about this last night. I'm like, everybody, okay, Jamie, catch your breath. Too much coffee. All people do is scroll. Nobody strolls. Like, nobody goes out for a walk anymore. Nobody takes the time to appreciate nature or get outside. Everything is, we sit in front of computers all day and then come home and sit in front of our phones all night. And I'm as guilty of it as the next person, but this is literally what we've become. Yeah, that. We're all going to get like arthritic, like carpal tunnel wrists and thumbs. So I was just talking to Michael about this last night, in his business too, it's all relationships. And sure, some things can be done over email and should be done over email, but without the human connection, it just doesn't work. Could you imagine going into your doctor's office and being like, him going, so tell me what's wrong? And you're like, well, and he's like, well, could you just send that to me in an email? I'll just read it later. Like, that's where we're headed. And technology is super important. We've built this amazing ecosystem of technology, which has made us smarter, I would say, in some ways, but first of all, less smart in other ways. I mean, ask an 18-year-old how to figure out like what a word means and take away Google. You want to see a kid like, what? I mean, remember the days of like pulling the giant encyclopedia out of your parents' shelf? Like R through S, right? You're like, let me look up the word rotund. And you're like, whatever. I mean, okay, that would be a dictionary, not an encyclopedia, but you know what I mean. Take away Google from some of these kids and they won't even know where to look for the information. So if the internet's down, they literally can't do their homework. The internet's down, can't do anything. So we're smarter in some ways because we have access to more information, but less smart because we're so dependent on it. The other thing is we have this huge network of social media, but I believe, dare I say, that we are less happy than we were in the 80s and the early 90s. I think so. I think even with this giant world of social media, in a lot of ways it isolates us more because we spend so much time comparing our real lives to everybody else's highlight reels and watching other people go on lunch dates and go shopping and tag that, check in that they're at the movies, feeling like, well, how come I wasn't included and how come I'm not there? And then it makes us feel bad. And then, whatever the case may be. And I think we're less happy. All I know is I miss the human connection. I value it. I love people. It's why I went into my business. I like to shake hands or hug or speak and look people in the eye. Call me old-fashioned. Call me old. I don't really care. It is true. That is how I feel. I am not ashamed to say that I still have a dictionary in my office and pull it out when I need to know what a word means. Sometimes I yell out to my staff, how do you spell whatever? But sometimes I just pull out my dictionary and look it up because there's something about the feel of the book, feeling like I'm still connected to the written word and to how I grew up, I guess. I don't know. My kids will never know what it's like to pull out an encyclopedia. They'll never know what it's like to need a dictionary. Makes me kind of sad that one day I know they'll work all day like this and come home like this. All right, so I'm off to Nashville today. I love you so much. Have a great day.